before the blast occurred and after the first, in between the first and second.
So what do you remember from, as since you've been turning this over in your mind, what do you remember happening yesterday at the finish?
Well, after my friend's husband finished, who was about 15 minutes behind my husband, my friend and I debated whether we were going to wait on some other charity runners who were coming in, and we decided to go ahead. We were supposed to meet up at the Globe on Boylston past the finish line, and so we decided to walk along Boylston as close as we could get to the finish line. If we needed to, we'd go around. And just after we crossed Exeter and we're heading closer to the finish line, the first explosion occurred about 10 yards in front of us.
Did you feel it?
Well, yeah, I actually got hit in the leg by something. It was a very minor injury. And so I immediately turned around. Our ears were ringing. It was like a sonic boom. And I encountered a woman who turned to me and said, "I'm bleeding." She had a cut on her face. It was relatively minor, but it was bleeding a lot. And I told her she was okay. Yes, she had a cut, but she needed to go. And then we took off. I did lose track of her. I should have kept hold of her. The second explosion occurred, and I saw that Exeter, and I just turned the corner because the whole time I was telling my husband, the whole time I thought to myself, I've got to get off Boylston. I've got to get off Boylston, because you'd just expect if something was going to happen, that's the street they're going to target. And so we went around the corner and off a couple blocks before I was able to reach my husband.
How many times have you done Boston before?
Just once.
Okay. Do you think you'll do it?
Yeah, if I had the opportunity to do it again. Now, I would have been one of the people who wouldn't have made it to the finish at the time, but I would love to do it again. I greatly enjoyed it. It's a wonderful experience, and I certainly hope the city continues to host, and that the organizers continue to do what they can to keep this tradition going forward. I mean, and frankly, the first responders were wonderful. The police came in immediately. The friend I was with had an experience with a severely injured person, and a police officer was there within a few seconds so that she was able to leave that person in good hands, since she didn't have a medical experience. And they cleared the runners off the road immediately, cleared people off, and everyone was as calm as you can expect. Some screaming after the second explosion. I think the first one created a shock. People are like, what's happening? And then when the second one hit, people realized this is something terrible.
How much of a cloud, if you come back, whether it's next year or a subsequent year to do this, how much of a cloud do you expect this tragedy?
To be honest, I would be more concerned about people who were coming to watch me than for myself, because the runners themselves were a little more insulated from the blasts, and I think it's easier to hit spectators. And so I might be more concerned about bringing my own children to watch, but I wouldn't be as concerned about running it myself.
That's one thing I was wondering about. We talked with someone earlier who was talking about the way the fans turn out and sort of fervently
Well, that's what makes it
encourage.
wonderful, and that's the sad part about it. Because Boston, unlike any other marathon, the spectators are just as excited about it as the runners. I don't think there's any other city that has that kind of love for the marathon.
Well, maybe, given how many of you are determined to come back and do this again, maybe there will be a similar determination on the part of spectators. Perhaps.
Yes, I'm sure there will be. Everyone wants to participate, and the best thing to do is just to keep living life and go forward.
It is hard, though. I have two kids, and I was going to come down with my 7-year-old daughter, my older daughter, yesterday, but we weren't able to do it. And it'll be on my mind if we think about doing it,
Yeah.
such is life. Carmona.